Come on. Fuck. Piece of shit. Fuck. No. Work. Ah, come on, you turn, piece of shit. Oh my god. Fuck. God. God. Jack found himself on the ground, surrounded by leaves. He's out of breath with crust in his eyes. Looking around him, he was eyeing everything. Almost everything that he was looking at was strange to him. Out of the ordinary, almost. It seemed as though he was in a forest. Judging by the many trees and bushes he was surrounded with, he didn't recognize where he was. He turned his head and eyed his surroundings, and pulled himself up, struggling to stand. Jack felt his body was flimsy and had a hard time adjusting his vision. He started walking, putting his hands on each tree as a crutch. He didn't know where he was gonna go, nor that he did know where he was gonna be. Being lost in the woods made him realize that he didn't remember anything. It actually raised a lot more questions in his head. Hello? Anyone there? Hello? His voice echoed through the trees and roared through the leaves. Jack was confused at his situation, mainly because he only remembers his name. What happened? He scratched his head while walking, exploring his path through the way. Looking around the forests he's in, he was weirded out. He raised his head above, and the sky was gloomy, mysterious, and hiding its suns. Jack didn't like the way things have been. It's been hours and he'd been walking on no end. One thing he noticed about the forest: the sun. The sun didn't go down. It was up the whole time. He felt the sun would go out by some time when he was walking for hours, but it never did. It was almost like a moon, but something seemed off about it, and he couldn't really know what it is. He found that to be extremely odd at the time. He figured he was probably dreaming, but the pain he felt around his chest, it was unlike any other pain he felt before, or at least if he remembers. He knew that this was his realism signal, making it loud and clear that this wasn't a dream. Hello? Anyone there? Hello? Jack kept shouting for help, or anyone around to aid him, only to be met by the echoes of his voice returning back to him. He was met by threads of desperation tackling him down in his hopes, and reflecting in his voice. Is there anyone there? Hello? Hello? He felt alone and exhausted. Being in a constant strain going through all of that made him feel very empty. That was alone to enrage that small fear at the back of his mind. Eventually, through the ruffling leaves and the miles he had walked, he was weirded out by how many trees through the forest he was walking and bumping into. It was almost like an endless forest, or either he was probably going in circles. But he did leave something behind. He picked up a rock and left it behind him each time he walked, and to his surprise, he never made it to the same place twice. Meaning, it was an endless forest. Jack gave up on the idea that someone is out there to help him or guide him out. And yet, he kept walking. Only now he was walking with his hopes shattered along each step of the way. Surprisingly, he saw something that was unfamiliar from all the sceneries he had seen. A small pond. He felt thirsty as soon as he saw it, or at least when he remembered so. Jack went to the pond, inspecting it with his eyes, endlessly as it looked beautiful in its aquatic nature. The pond was majestic, almost eye-catching. Speaking of eye-catching things, he came closer to it, fascinated by it, almost grabbed into it. He doesn't know why, but it was so beautiful. The moment he got closer to the pond, he slipped and fell in, feeling the cold water consuming his body. Jack was drowning to the endless pond, where he knew this was his end. Until an arm reached from above, piercing the water, making its way to him, grabbing his hand and pulling him out. Jack was unconscious. Whoever pulled him out kept pressing onto his chest to push out the water out of his mouth. Eventually, he kept breathing again. Jack opened his eyes, and in front of him was a beautiful woman. Short-haired and blonde with sky-blue eyes, looking worried into his soul. Her face and her presence seemed almost familiar to him, like an old soul he'd seen in a past life or so. She began speaking to him. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "Thank God. I saw you from a distance while I was walking and I was trying to leave this forest." "Wait, you woke up here as well?" I did, and I was walking for hours and I never saw anyone. I almost gave up. Thankfully, I found you." "All right." She noticed a wound on his right knee, dripping with blood. Her face lit up and she looked around. She was looking for something to patch up Jack's wound. She immediately grabbed some leaves and put it on his wound. "What?" He was speechless throughout the way. He looked down and realized she was patching up something on his leg. He didn't know what to say, so he just sat in silence. While she was patching him up, he began speaking. "What's your name?" "Oh, my name. You can call me Lucy," she said, standing up and smiling at him. He looked at his knee, and by the looks of it, she patched it up. Lucy was happy at the time, looking at his knee as an accomplishment, an achievement she just did. Jack felt grateful to what she did. He didn't know how to thank her exactly, so he just muttered a few words in gratitude. "Thanks, I guess." Moments began passing by. Jack and Lucy were just standing there in a moment, looking at each other, until she broke the silence. "Well, let's keep walking, I guess." She then went on and helped Jack stand up. He glanced at her while she was doing so and walked with her. The two were walking, knowing the forest is probably endless, and yet Jack felt his shattered hope was once rebounded again by her enthusiasm, giving him a small light to look up to. He began speaking again. "For how long have you been walking before you found me?" "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know?" I just don't know." "Were you the one who brought me here? It was you, wasn't it?" "What? No, I swear, I don't remember anything." She shouted loud and clear at Jack. For a moment, he saw truth spilling from her eyes. "Wait, you don't remember anything at all?" I don't. I don't know why." Jack stood there for a moment, sharing that thought between him and Lucy. Something wasn't right. The fact that they both woke up in this endless forest and not remembering anything made it clear to Jack that nothing felt right since he woke up. "Look, let's just keep walking and hopefully we'll find an exit from here, alright?" Jack was skeptical towards her. Her friendly presence struck him with doubt at her words. "Alright." The two were on their journey, walking and crushing the leaves underneath their feet. After hours of walking through the endless forest, they still haven't found their way out. And Jack's patience was running out as well. "Don't lose hope. We can still make it out of here, alright?" "We've been walking for fucking forever. Forget it. We're trapped in here." Don't say that. "Or fucking what?" Huh? A sound emerged from the trees behind them. It sounded like an animal, but something was off in its tone. It caught them off their argument, making them both turn their heads towards the sound. What was that? I don't know, but I don't like how it sounds.